Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. Today I'm doing another similar games episode, and I'm doing one that's kind of like the one I did, just the last one I did, where I took a Nintendo game and a Sega Master System game, and that was Castlevania on the Nintendo and Master of Darkness on the Sega. A game I've never heard of up until pretty recent, actually. This is the same idea. I've just heard of this game on the Sega Master System. I've always known about Zelda, and this is like one of my most favorite games on the system. It was a new concept to me when I first got this game. I never played anything like it. I mean, even on the Commodore 64, I never played any games like Zelda. And so it was a real fascinating game, and I love this one. And to some extent, I even like the second one, even though it's a lot different. I mean, they really changed it up, but I still enjoyed it. And of course, the Super Nintendo one is really great as well. I think I got that one right here as part of my collection. But the one I want to compare it to is on the Sega Master System, and that is called Golden Axe Warrior. I'm sure some of the real hardcore Sega fans know what it is. Probably a lot of real hardcore fans know what it is, but I never heard of it, and I know a few people said they never heard of it as well. It's kind of one of those hidden treasures. It came out a lot later, I believe, than the actual Zelda game came out. And it's got its differences, but I mean, there's a lot of similarities. So I'm going to do this on, I have to do this on an emulator because I don't have Golden Axe Warrior. It's kind of expensive. I looked it up online and they're going for around $100 or more just for loose copies. At least for the time I looked anyways. And so I had to emulate it. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a screen capture of it and just kind of talk about it as I play the both games and kind of compare the two. Okay, so we have Zelda. Well, The Legend of Zelda, actually. And yeah, I mean, this is a true classic on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I really love this game. It's one of my most favorite games. I mean, I love the Mario games too. But I think Zelda always is going to be one of my top, because to me it was so different to have like this full-on adventure the way it was, and it's kind of like an RPG style, but not exactly. So there they just kind of give you the storyline. I think a lot of us know the storyline. You're just trying to get the Triforce and save Zelda. You're Link. So I'm just putting in my name there. I'm going to call myself BMC for Brian's Man Cave. And let's begin the game. So yeah, that's Link. And you can't do anything unless you go down here and get your sword. So we got these areas where you can essentially buy or just get things. And these are all throughout the whole game. You have to explore, you have to find these things. So what's cool is like Link has a sword, but it also shoots. It shoots like I don't know what it's doing, but it's shooting like a sword out of the sword. And you can only do that if you're at full power. So I got the 3 hearts there up on the top right. So as long as I'm always got full hearts, so no matter how many hearts you have, as long as they're completely full, you get to shoot. And it's very handy, so you don't have to keep going up and, fighting the enemies right off the bat. So I'm just kind of like wandering around, exploring the different areas, and you pick up stuff like your hearts, you pick up your bombs, you pick up rupees, which is money, and, all that kind of fun stuff. See, I just lost half a heart there, so now I can't shoot my weapon anymore. But it's fine, I still have a shield, so I can block their attacks, and I still have my sword, so I can still attack them, and every once in a while you'll find a heart or something, you can pick it up and replenish yourself. But this is pretty much Zelda. I mean, the game, most of the game is pretty much this. So you just kind of wander around. I remember when I bought it, it came with a full-scale map. I might actually still have it somewhere. And it shows you the whole world. Well, kind of shows you the whole world. There's areas where they don't really show you, and you have to kind of figure it out yourself. And the dungeons, and like when you go into these areas, so when you go down into these I guess, yeah, dungeons, is exactly what I just said. That's what you do. You've got to crawl around in here. It has its own little map system, so you could usually tell where you are after you've explored the area. So you just gotta hit the start button and then you see the actual map of the labyrinth I guess they call it in the game, but pretty much a dungeon. And you fight all these characters, you wander around, you get your hearts again. It's very much the same as when you're on the top level. Not a whole lot different. The only difference that I could really say is that when you die, you start at the beginning of the labyrinth, whereas in the outer world, you always go to the like to where you started. That's the same idea, you know, just showing you there, that's what the map screen looks like. And some areas they lock you in there until you kill all the enemies, which I had to do, and I just got killed. But you know, you see you got like the sub-weapons, you got like all this stuff. It even gives you a little note there to avoid damaging the system to make sure you turn the power off and, you know, hold down the power reset button and all that stuff. You know, they didn't want you to ruin your game, I guess. So I'm just kind of exploring out. This is like the desert area. They have all these different areas. A lot of it looks the same, looks very similar, but this is like the desert area. These things are annoying, and like especially the blue ones. And you can always tell the difference. Like the kind of the orangier colors, the red colors are easier to kill. The blue are always harder, even with the moblins and stuff. So I'm just kind of gonna wander over here. Gonna look for more stuff. Actually, in the beginning of this game, that's all you really do. You kind of wander around looking for rupees. There's a lot of different areas you can go to grab these rupees, and there's like hidden areas where you can go in and someone will actually give you like 100 rupees or 50 rupees or something like that. It's pretty good. I'm gonna go down here. And yeah, I mean, this is the game. This is Zelda. It just gets a little bit more complicated, and you have to like go into all the dungeons areas. You gotta go into the labyrinths and stuff like that. So I just found a bomb there. The bombs are very important. You have to take the bombs and actually find locations where you can blow holes in the wall. So I spent a lot of time actually wandering around looking for places to blow up and just using the bombs up as much as I can. Just like bombing every area. I know there's one here actually. I'm just gonna go to this one here. And I think it's... no, it's not there. Here! And yeah. So it allows you to explore, and obviously you get a prize. I'm gonna take the heart, because that's always the best thing to take. But I mean, that's pretty much Zelda in a nutshell. Okay, so now we have Golden Axe Warrior. Now, this game is obviously a little bit different as far as the storyline is concerned. It does, just like in Zelda, run through the whole story, what you have to do. I mean, there's some similarities to it. Your goal is to destroy this Death Adder, the evil giant, and restore the 9 crystals. Kind of like the Triforce pieces, but they're crystals in this one. And then you gotta get the Golden Axe, and, you know, you beat the guy and you win. So there's no, like, Zelda-type character in this. But, I mean, the idea is the same idea. You gotta save somebody and save people, essentially. So you can see the graphics are pretty decent. I mean, this is Sega. Sega Master System. The graphics on the Sega were pretty much comparable, if not sometimes better than the Nintendo. So this gives you the option if you want to save your game, create a new one. I'm just going to create one, again, BMC for Brian's Man Cave, and start the game. Now, in this one, it gives you more of a storyline during the game. Zelda doesn't really do that. It does give you, like, little bits and pieces throughout the game where like, a moblin or something will speak, but you don't really go around and get all this information from all these people, just like in this one. So you can see how I walked into this area. These people are all just kind of standing around, and you can talk to them individually. Kind of like Dragon Warrior. In fact, this game does kind of add a little bit of the Dragon Warrior idea to it. Where you go around, you got this inn you can stay in, replenishes your health. You got the shopkeepers and, you know, different people that can do different things. This guy lets you save your game whenever you want, and you know, this is your store. Whereas in Zelda, when you walk into an area, it's usually just like one guy going, "Would you like to buy something?" and that's about it. So as you can see, the outer world, I mean, it's pretty much almost identical to Zelda, you know, where it's got the trees and all that stuff. I'm just wandering around in here again. But you see how it opens up and you know, moving to the next frame just kind of pushes it in. Now, it does move a lot faster than Zelda. I noticed that, like, the transition stage from going from one area to the next, it's really a lot faster than in Zelda. A little bit more smoother. So what I picked up there was a horn. So the horns are your money. Instead of rupees, like in Zelda, you have these horns. So the blue horn gives you 5, and the yellow one gives you 1. Just like in Zelda, the blue one gives you 5, and what was it? I forgot the color of it. Green ones gives you 1. So yeah, so you go through here. These guys are kind of like the moblins, and they throw spears and stuff. Very similar. Can't walk through the trees. So you notice on the bottom left, there's that little, looks like a candle holder. That's where you put your crystals when you find them. And then beside that, that's the horn. That's how much money you have. So I have like $14 essentially. And it shows my weapon. Unlike in Zelda though, with Zelda it has the AMD and the 2 different weapons. This one just shows the one weapon that you're holding. And then you got your life, which is the hearts. That's the same as Zelda. But in this you have magic. In the first Zelda game, you don't have magic. You don't get that until the second Zelda 2, essentially. So we're just gonna wander around here. That replenishes magic. So far I haven't found any weapons or anything that use magic. This was just a secret area. It just turns out you can save your game here. So they have save points all over the place. Like in Zelda, when you die on the main map, you always have to start off where you start the game. Whereas in this, you can actually have save points. So I'm over here where the first actual labyrinth is. Just like in Zelda, you get the dungeons, like the labyrinths is. And yeah, I mean, it's just you got the map screen. Everything kind of looks the same. The graphics are slightly different. You know, the characters look different for sure. Instead of Link, you know, you're the blue guy. But you know, it's the same idea. You get the keys. You gotta work your way through the labyrinth. I'm not sure exactly what can move and, you know, all these little trick things in this game. I know in Zelda, like, you can move those blocks. Some of them anyways, you can move them. But I believe in this one, you actually can also manipulate those candles on the wall. So that opens up, like, different tricks or secret areas. A little bit different. But, you know, this game has to be somewhat different. They're not just going to entirely copy Zelda. And moving on up, and that just got killed. And just like in Zelda, you always start off at the beginning of the labyrinth, and you can look at your map to see where you've gone. But other than that, I mean, if you look at the layout and the way this game is played, it's very much just Zelda. They literally just took the idea of Zelda and made their own. And it's cool because, like, I like this version of Zelda. It's like, well, this isn't Zelda, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. I like the Zelda concept. I like the way the game played. I wish there was more like it. Obviously, the Nintendo, the second one, Zelda 2, it's a lot different. They really made a different game. And then 3, I think it's A Link to the Past, on the Super Nintendo, was pretty much the same idea as the first one, just much more graphically pleasing. They added a lot more to it. And then the Game Boy one was pretty decent, but then we got into the 3D Zeldas, where everything was like a 3D world. All the way up to like Breath of the Wild. There was a few Game Boy ones that came out. I didn't get really familiar with them, but those would probably be like the last true, like, classic Zelda style games. So it's kind of cool that I found this one. I mean, this is not a new game. This is a while this game has been out, and I just didn't know about it. And so I'm glad I could actually now play this one and hopefully, you know, get somewhere in it. I'm gonna have to read the rulebook a little bit more, because I know there's a lot more things in this game that don't exist in Zelda. Like the different magic things, like you got scrolls, you got ropes, you got cliffs, there's like a boat, you got different weapons, you got like a short sword, which you start off with, you get your axe, which allows you to cut down those trees, Kind of like what the candle does in Zelda. And you got like a long sword and all that. So there's different weapons, there's different things going on. But it feels like a Zelda game, which is what makes it really cool. So I'm hoping to actually spend some more time on this one and actually see if I can get anywhere in it. And I just died. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, you can totally see where Golden Axe Warrior kind of borrows a lot of the concepts from Zelda. I mean, the look of, and the feel of it, even the way the characters interact. They did take a little bit of like other games like Dragon Warrior that I noticed that, you know, a little bit more interaction with the people. In the first Zelda, you don't actually, I mean, you kind of talk to some people, but they don't really give you too much information. The second Zelda, this one here, the Adventures of Link, they do it a little bit more, you know, kind of like Castlevania 2, where you wander around and actually talk to people. But this game, you don't interact too much with people. There's a few spaces where somebody will give you some cryptic message, but I mean, the majority of Zelda is actually finding things. And the battle sequences, you know, where it's actual real-time battle. It's not a text-based battle or anything like that. So, I mean, it does have its differences from, you know, Dragon Warrior. And I would say that the Golden Axe Warrior, it kind of plays very similar. Now, I found battling, I don't know why, I found the battling a little bit trickier on the Golden Axe Warrior. It could just be I'm using an emulator and I'm using like a Nintendo USB-style controller. But I don't know, I just found that when I first started playing the game a few times, I couldn't get very far and I kept losing, so it could just be the fact that I need to get used to it. So yeah, I just wanted to show those off. Let me know what you think of the two games, what you think is better. Do you think there's a, you know, do you think the Sega one was better? I mean, the sound wasn't as good. I didn't like the sound as much as I liked the Zelda game. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of this. Leave some comments below. Hope you subscribe to my channel. Talk to you later.